Hello. It is an absolutely gorgeous day. Um, I took some fabulous pictures of the sunrise. It's fairly cloudy this morning, but there was like little breaks in the cloud, and so seeing the rays popping through the clouds was absolutely fabulous. And so this morning, as I was walking, I was thinking about the profound transformation that we can have on a person's life, even when we don't really put a lot of effort into it. All it requires is even just a moment of empathy and compassion. And I'll explain that. I have, over my lifetime, met many people, and I've always tended to attract into my life. I don't want it to sound bad this way, but like this is how I've always seen it. Like I have always attracted stray dogs. And I say that because most of the people I've met in my life, they come into my life, and a lot of the problems that they have, they end up finding comfort in my compassion. Let me give you an example. A woman that I respect very, very deeply. I met her in a very low period in her life, very low. She was in addiction actively. And immediately, I fell in love with this woman because I could see her. She came from an abusive background, alcoholic father, despondent mother, very unattached. She was dealing with, her own trauma. And so she grew up never feeling like love, never feeling any kind of encouragement, feeling only like she was a problem, something to be pushed aside or forgotten. And so this pushed her into caretaker because typically when you are starved of love, all you want to do is get love. And so you caretake in order to feel love. But when you have unhealed wounds, we tend to attract into our lives those who amplify our wounds because they're there to show us what is causing the pain. And so when I met her and we started discussing life, she would tell me her pain and I would feel it with her and I would justify her pain, but I wouldn't leave it there. I would hold up a mirror and reflect back to her the strength that she didn't see. All she ever saw in herself was a problem that she couldn't solve. And so she drank. After a few months of being friends, she started to transform. She started to see herself as an angel. And it doesn't matter like how you view angels. This is the perfect way to view oneself as an angel. Because when you self-sacrifice for years and years and years and give love even when you receive none in return, this is love in form. We don't have to sacrifice our lives to give love. But before we remember that, you can feel invisible. And so when I reflected back to her that which I could see in her that she could not, she began to see it herself. And this isn't something that has to happen for, long periods of time. There was one time when I was on a road trip. I was having breakfast in probably one of the worst places I could have breakfast, McDonald's. But I saw a woman outside who was obviously homeless. And I myself did not have a home at the time. And even if I did, it wouldn't have mattered. I would have still done the same thing. I asked God to bring that woman into the McDonald's so I could buy her breakfast. And I didn't just buy her breakfast. I asked her to have breakfast with me. It was very clear that the woman had unhealed wounds, many unhealed wounds. And I asked her if I could read the tarot cards for her. And she was a little skeptical at first. She's like, "Are you really like one of those, or are you just gonna feed me bullshit?" And I was like, I'm pretty good at this. And so we went outside and I pulled out of my shadow deck. And I showed her who she was and explained to her how to get out of the muck and the mire. And I have absolutely no idea what happened to that woman. But in that moment, she felt seen, she felt heard, and she felt acknowledged. And even if her life didn't change, at least I gave her in that moment love that she may have never felt ever in her entire life. Love is a simple gift that we can give. It does not require anything from us except for to see the other person not just as a separate part of ourselves, but as a part of the whole that we ourselves are part of, and therefore are one. We may not have had the exact same journey, these two women and myself, but we had a similar enough journey for me to be able to see the strength within them to continue to survive. I lived in survival mode for years. I know what it's like. And so because I know what it's like, I could see them in that survival mode and say, hey, there's light at the end of the tunnel. Just keep moving forward. Release what you can. Heal what you can. And lift yourself up on a daily basis. This is you giving something that costs you nothing, except for maybe a few moments of your time and an open heart. And it can literally change the life of a person. I love you guys. And as always, see you soon.